This video explains the most important functions of Savina 300 Select. It also explains how to prepare and to start operation of the device, and moreover how to use and clean it. This video is divided into different sections which allow you to easily navigate. Please note that this video does not replace an instruction by your Dräger contact. Moreover, the instruction for use of Savina 300 Select should be read carefully. In this chapter, you will see how to prepare Savina 300 Select for its use on the patient. Before the Savina 300 Select is connected to a patient, the device should be cleaned in accordance with the hospital hygiene regulations and the corresponding instructions for use. Savina 300 Select can be used for the ventilation of intubated patients in application mode tube, for non-invasive ventilation in the application mode NIV, and for O2 therapy. Prepare the expiratory valve. Check that the diaphragm fits properly onto the edge of the expiratory valve housing and that the flow sensor sleeve and the water trap container have been attached. Then insert the expiratory valve. After that, insert the flow sensor and push it up to the stop in the flow sensor sleeve of the expiratory valve. If no breathing gas humidifier is used, we recommend the use of an inspiratory bacterial filter, HME, which has to be fitted onto the inspiratory port. Hang the hinged arm on the lateral standard rail of Savina 300 Select and tighten the screws. Connect the breathing hoses to the inspiratory port and to the expiratory port. Insert the breathing hoses in the opening of the hinged arm. Then the filter, HME, on the Y-piece, and the test lung on the HME. If no HME is used, a breathing gas humidifier should be installed on the humidifier holder. The option CO2 offers the possibility of a CO2 mainstream measurement directly at the Y-piece and delivers measuring data in real time. They are shown as a graphic and as numerical values on the screen of the ventilator. Insert the cuvette into the patient connector of the Y-piece so that the cuvette windows are facing to the side. Afterwards, push the CO2 sensor onto the cuvette. Plug the CO2 sensor connector into the socket on the rear of Savina 300 Select. Savina 300 Select is supplied with mains power or with power from the internal or external battery. The external battery also serves as the power supply during patient transport. Insert the mains plug into the mains power socket. The LED lights up green. For ventilation, Savina 300 Select uses ambient air, which is supplied by an internal turbine. In the high-pressure oxygen mode, O2 supply is provided by a central gas supply system or by compressed gas cylinders. In the low-pressure oxygen mode, O2 supply is provided by an external low-pressure oxygen source, for example an O2 concentrator. For supplying from compressed gas cylinders, Savina 300 Select can be equipped with a transport supply unit or a cylinder holder. For O2 supply from a central gas supply system, connect the O2 compressed gas hose with the O2 connection of Savina 300 Select. If a nebulizer is used, connect the nebulizer to the inspiratory side of the Y-piece and connect the inspiratory hose to the nebulizer. Place the nebulizer in the vertical position. For O2 therapy, connect both breathing hoses to the breathing gas humidifier. Connect one breathing hose to the inspiratory port of the device and the other breathing hose directly to the patient interface for oxygen therapy. Subsequently, insert the breathing hose in the opening of the hinged arm. Before using the device on a patient, readiness for operation of Savina 300 Select is checked during the device check and the breathing circuit check. Only start ventilation once the device check has been successfully completed. The device check is quickly and easily performed. Savina 300 Select guides the user through the respective test step in the form of a question-answer dialogue. Turn on Savina 300 Select and touch the Device Check tab. There, Savina 300 Select displays the individual test steps in a list. Touch the Start button and confirm with the rotary knob. answer the questions in the instruction field by touching the buttons Yes or No. After the device check was successful, perform a breathing circuit check. You already selected the breathing circuit check. Select the breathing circuit used, either standard or coaxial. Subsequently, select the corresponding button for patient type and the humidification type. Caution: when using a coaxial breathing circuit, no active humidification is possible. Touch the Start button and confirm with the rotary knob. Now follow the instructions displayed in the instruction field. If CO2 monitoring is used, check the CO2 0 indication. The prerequisite for that is a clean CO2 sensor placed on the cuvette. Use a clean or a new cuvette. An at least 3-minute warm-up phase for the CO2 sensor has to elapse. Select the cuvette type and display the CO2 measured values as a curve in the curve field. Touch the Sensors button in the main menu bar and then touch the CO2 tab. Select the cuvette type and touch the Start button and confirm with the rotary knob. When requested by Savina 300 Select, remove the CO2 sensor from the cuvette and hold in ambient air. Do not breathe on or into the cuvette. There are two ways to configure the start settings for a new patient. You can configure the start settings either on the basis of the patient category or the ideal body weight. The initial values of the ventilation parameters and alarms are calculated accordingly. This chapter describes how to select ventilation modes and additional settings, and how to set ventilation parameters and alarm limits. Savina 300 Select can be used for the ventilation of intubated patients in application mode tube, and for non-invasive ventilation in application mode NIV, as well as O2 therapy. To start invasive ventilation, select tube. Now select between current patient, new adult, or new pediatric patient. If you select new adult, type in the body height. The ideal body weight is calculated by the body height. Select the Ventilation Settings button and check or adjust the appropriate settings and confirm with the rotary knob. Then select the Alarms button and check or adjust the alarm limits accordingly and confirm with the rotary knob. To start non-invasive ventilation, select the NIV button. Now select between current patient, new adult, or new pediatric patient. When you select a new patient, type in the body height. The ideal body weight is calculated by the body height. Select the Ventilation Settings button and select the appropriate settings and confirm with the rotary knob. In the application mode NIV, all ventilation modes can be selected. Then select the Alarms button and set the alarm limit accordingly and confirm with the rotary knob. In application mode NIV, the symbol is displayed in an orange area in the header bar. During O2 therapy, only the O2 concentration and gas flow are set and monitored. The user does not have to set alarm limits. To start the O2 therapy, press the O2 therapy button on the Start Standby page and confirm with the rotary knob. You have three options to open the Ventilation Settings dialog window to adapt the ventilation settings. First, touch the Ventilation Settings button in the main menu bar. Second, touch the arrow button in the therapy bar. Or third, touch the displayed ventilation mode in the header bar. To select a ventilation mode, touch the tab for the corresponding ventilation mode. The color of the tab turns yellow. Preset the ventilation parameters if necessary. If the therapy control is displayed in dark green following confirmation with the rotary knob, the ventilation parameter setting is effective immediately, even if the new ventilation mode was not yet activated. For the optimization of ventilation, the ventilation modes can be combined with additional settings. For setting additional settings of the active ventilation mode, touch the Additional Settings tab. Touch the Ventilation Settings page and then the ATC Settings tab. Here you can adjust the settings, tube type, tube diameter, and ATC. Leakages are greater with non-invasive ventilation than with invasive ventilation. Savina 300 Select takes into account the leakages in the NIV application mode accordingly. The inspiratory trigger is automatically adapted to the measured leakage. The measured values for tidal volume are leakage corrected and indicate the patient's actual tidal volume. To do this, open the System Setup page and make the corresponding setting, which is confirmed with the rotary knob. In application mode NIV, the leakage compensation is always switched on. In the application mode tube, the leakage compensation can be switched on or off. To avoid any risk of hypoxia during endotracheal suction, Savina 300 Select offers a program for oxygen enrichment. During suction and for 2 minutes afterwards, the lower alarm limit for the minute volume is switched off. Press the O2 suction key. Savina 300 Select continues ventilating in the set ventilation mode at 100% volume O2. Within 180 seconds, Savina 300 Select expects a disconnection for suction. In the header bar, the initial oxygen enrichment phase is displayed with the remaining time. Disconnect the patient and perform the suction maneuver. 120 seconds are available for suctioning. In the header bar, the disconnection phase is displayed with the remaining time. Afterwards, reconnect the patient. Savina Select continues ventilating in the set ventilation mode, except that for 120 seconds, 100% volume O2 is delivered for final oxygen enrichment. Press the nebulization on-off key and Savina 300 Select starts nebulization. The nebulization time is 30 minutes. The symbol and the remaining time are displayed in the header bar. The inspiration hold maneuver can be activated in all ventilation modes. Between two automatically delivered breaths, a breath can be manually started and held, or regardless of the start time, an automatically delivered breath can be prolonged. For triggering manual inspiration, briefly press the inspiration hold key. For extending manual inspiration, press the inspiration hold key and hold for the desired inspiratory time. Savina 300 Select displays the following visual and acoustic alarm signals. First, the system displays the relevant alarm message in the alarm message field of the header bar. Second, the parameter field of the parameter triggering the alarm flashes. Third, in the alarms dialog window, the corresponding measured value flashes. Fourth, for high priority or medium priority alarm messages, the corresponding LED flashes on the control panel. The background color of the alarm message field indicates the priority of the active alarm. If several alarms occur simultaneously, the alarm with the highest priority is displayed first. High priority alarm messages that are no longer active are displayed in the background color of the alarm message field. The parameter box of the parameter triggering the alarm flashes in the color of the alarm priority. Red means warning and is an alarm with high priority. Yellow means caution and is an alarm with medium priority. Cyan means note and is an alarm with low priority. On the logbook page, the priority of the alarm messages is also indicated by exclamation marks. The alarm tone can be suppressed for a maximum of 2 minutes. If during this time a high priority alarm arises, the tone sequence sounds once. If the fault triggering the alarm is not eliminated after 2 minutes, the alarm tone sounds again. Press the audio paused key to suppress the alarm tone. After the fault has been eliminated, the alarm tone is silenced. High-priority alarm messages continue to be displayed and need to be acknowledged. Therefore, press the Alarm Reset key. There are two options to open the Alarms dialog window. To set the alarm limit, touch the Alarms button in the main menu bar or touch directly into the Alarms dialog window. Touch the corresponding button for the alarm limit. Set the value by turning the rotary knob and press to confirm. Touch the button System Setup in the main menu bar to change the configuration. The settings Alarm Volume and Brightness can be configured on the General Settings page. Touch, for example, the button for adjusting the volume of the alarm tone or the brightness of the screen. Set the value by turning the rotary knob and push to confirm. On the Ventilation page, the ventilation functions Pressure Limitation, Inspiratory Pause Time Plateau, and Inspiratory Termination can be activated or deactivated. Touch the On or Off button and confirm with the rotary knob. To configure the startup settings, touch the button System Setup, then click Startup Settings. Type in the password and click OK. Now touch the tab Settings 1 and select either the patient category or the patient weight. Confirm with the rotary knob. You can configure a language, the date and time, and the units on the country page. Data exchange takes place via Medibus or Medibus X or Nurse Call. Savina 300 Select can be supplemented with a set of additional options. The additional ventilation modes PC BBAP, PC APRV, PC AC, and VCMMV, Autoflow, Pediatric Plus, O2 Therapy, Non-Invasive Ventilation, CO2, Monitoring Plus, Special Maneuver, ATC, and Quick Startup. Not shown here, the option LPO. The transport supply unit has been designed for a fast coupling to the trolley of the ventilator. The transport supply unit supplies the Savina 300 Select with gas from 1 or 2 compressed gas cylinders. For coupling the transport supply unit with the ventilator, lock all brakes on the trolley of the ventilator. Move the transport supply unit under the trolley. The guide pin must be pushed into the fixing plate. Tip up the transport supply unit until the coupling element of the transport supply unit audibly clicks into the coupling element of the trolley. Pull on the transport supply unit to check correct coupling. The locking button can no longer be operated when locked correctly. Release all locking brakes and move the ventilator by the handle. Immediately reconnect the device to the mains power supply following patient transport to ensure that the batteries are being charged. For transporting patients, the trolley of Savina 300 Select can be coupled on a bed. It is a prerequisite that the device side coupling part is attached to the trolley. Attach the bedside coupling part to the rail or to the bar at the head end of the bed and align the coupling connector horizontally. Then couple the device and the bed. To do so, lock the casters on the bed. Bring the device side coupling part and the bedside coupling part to the same height. Adjust the height of the bed or reposition the device side coupling part on the trolley column for this purpose. Adjust the distance between the device and the bed. Press the release button for this purpose. Push the device towards the bed until the coupling connector engages audibly in the coupling head of the device side coupling part. For uncoupling the device and the bed, press and hold the release button on the device side coupling part. Detach the device from the bed simultaneously. For decoupling the transport supply unit, lock all brakes on the trolley of the ventilator. Hold the transport supply unit by the handle and move the locking lever to the left while pressing the locking button. Move the transport supply unit from under the trolley and park. This chapter describes how to disconnect the ventilation accessories, dismantle them for reprocessing, and which reprocessing methods can be used. Before you disconnect and dismantle the ventilation accessories, switch off the device and breathing gas humidifier and remove their power plugs. Drain the water traps and breathing hoses and, if present, the water container of the breathing gas humidifier. Now remove the CO2 sensor, the breathing hoses, the bacterial filter, the flow sensor, and the expiratory valve. Pull the flow sensor sleeve from the expiratory valve and remove the diaphragm. Remove and empty the water trap container. If a medication nebulizer was used, dismantle it in accordance with the corresponding instructions for use and reprocess the components in accordance with the reprocessing list for semi-critical medical devices. Reprocess the breathing gas temperature sensor, the reusable CO2 sensor, the breathing hoses, the flow sensor, and the components of the expiratory valve in accordance with the reprocessing list for semi-critical medical devices. Please ensure that there is no residual water in the expiratory valve. Now wipe the surfaces with a clean, damp, lint-free cloth without using corrosive detergents. Wipe surfaces until they are free of all spots and dry them. Manual disinfection should preferably be carried out with disinfectants recommended by Dräger. Please note that the concentration, temperature, and exposure times are different with every disinfectant. Please consult the individual manufacturer's instructions for use. Make sure that only cleaned and disinfected reusable components are sterilized. The hot steam sterilization can be performed at 134 degrees Celsius. Observe instructions for use of the device. To ensure the effectiveness of sterilization, a minimum sterilization time of 5 minutes is required. You should thoroughly inspect all items for damage and wear, for example cracking, embrittlement or pronounced hardening, and residual soiling. Device malfunctions are possible due to wear and material fatigue of the components. To maintain the proper operation of all components, this device must undergo inspection and preventive maintenance at specified intervals. Please find the preventive maintenance intervals in the maintenance table. After completing all steps, Savina 300 Select is ready to be used on the next patient. It can be assembled and put into operation according to the chapters Preparation and Getting Started in the instructions for use. We hope we've given you an interesting insight into the ingenious world of the Savina 300 Select. You will find more information in our instructions for use and on our website. Please feel free to contact us directly.